All right, what's going on, everybody? Hope this video finds you well. Kind of a fun little topic that I think is extremely important to a lot of us out there. How do we properly align the golf club to our target? How do we properly align the golf club to the target? I think this right here is by far one of the biggest things that I see on a lesson tee almost on a daily basis, and questions I get asked all the time is how do I align myself? So before we get into that, if you haven't checked out the last video that I did, please click on that link down below. Also got a free crash course, Understanding Impact. Would love to have you take a peek at that. And let's get right into it. So when we look at alignment, I think the most important piece of alignment is how do we actually align what the golf club is doing in relation to our target line. Because here's the thing, we can look at a lot of players throughout the history of time, pretty good ball strikers, and we're not all sitting perfect railroad ties with our shoulders, our pelvis, our knees, our feet. We're not in a perfect straight line to make the golf ball go straight every time. We're dealing with variables such as vertical swing plane, attack angle, swing direction. We've got all of these things that we're dealing with that are actually changing what the golf club's doing in relation to the target, especially as we understand that the golf club is working on a circular motion, working on an arc. So I think it's important for us to firstly comprehend how do we actually set up the alignments to the golf club so that we can also predict where's the golf ball going to go, where is it going to start, and what is it going to do right here. So I think the number one thing when we go into alignment that I see people struggle with is they'll get in here, like if I grab a golf ball, let's say I put a golf ball right here. This would be low point. So this white line right here would be low point. Yellow is going to be target line. So what I'll see a lot of people do is they get in here, they try and get everything square, and then they set the club down. And now we're moving the golf club all over the place. And I find it, I know myself included, I used to find this very difficult to get comfortable over the actual golf shot. So I think one of the biggest things that we need to do is we need to reverse the roles and we need to comprehend how do we actually get the golf club square. So one of the ways that I like to look at it is when we're discussing and when we're talking about low point, the way that I view this, especially when I draw lines on video, etc., is I would call the ball joint of the left shoulder. Okay, this would be where the left arm and the shaft, they would form a radius here. Well, this radius line right here is going to be perpendicular to where target line is. So if you take an alignment stick here and you place this on your heel, or this is basically running down from the ball joint of your shoulder, this is going to be perpendicular to target line. So I could basically take this and I would be able to go, all right, 90 degrees to what my low point is, that would be target line. So what I would say for a lot of us, like even regardless of where the ball position is when we come in here to align ourselves, like if I grab another alignment stick here, when we come in here to align ourselves, let's get the golf club firstly set up so we know what actual square is. So one of the things that I will do is if we sit the golf club here straight up and down, and I draw an angle off the top of the shaft right here, that is now parallel to what my target line is. So once I get the golf club set up, then I can set my body up to this golf club here. Then I can make my adjustments to whatever I'm doing with the ball position that'll actually start to help me project what my swing direction and what my face angle would be right here. So I think a really big skill set, especially if you're good at seeing angles here, is come into the golf ball. We know what low point is. And if we take a look at the shaft right here, if I set the shaft up from this down the line view, we can see 90 degrees to the shaft is going to be parallel to that stick on the ground. If I have the handle pushed way forward, that's going to be projecting an inward to an outward movement. Okay? If I have the handle backwards, you can see how that would be aimed left. And I think this is where people start to feel crisscrossed, is because we set the body up initially versus actually setting the golf club up. The other thing that we have access to that I think is really important for alignment when we're talking about the actual instrument of the golf club is if we run a stick right here, right down the leading edge of the shaft, what we can do is we can get this top score line here. We can get this top score line square to the leading edge of the shaft, and that at least gives us a starting reference of where things are actually aimed here. So I think this becomes a really important skill set here when we're actually learning how to align ourselves. Take your time, learn how to set the golf club up square firstly. There would be the golf club square. Then I can set up to this golf ball. Now if I push the handle forward, I can see this would be more of a draw setup. I can change the twist that I would have in the face to produce the amount of curvature that I want, okay? But at least I'm able right in here by starting at low point, I can say, okay, there's what square is. Now I know I'm square to this. Now me moving the ball position back a little bit, if I wanted to draw this, now I can see this is going to be projected to start right. I can close the face to the shaft just a little bit. And this would be, for me, this would be a perfect setup for me to start the golf ball right and curve it left, just by comprehending how the golf club actually sits in relation to the target. Then what I would say is this makes it significantly easier for us to be able to set the body up now that we know that the club is set up to swing a certain direction. I'll tell you this, I think one of the hardest things in golf is if we come in here, I'm going to move these sticks for one sec. If we come in here and we have the golf club set up like this, and we have our body line square, it's really hard to figure out how the heck this golf ball is going to go on a straight line or whatever line we're trying to make it go. And this is where we start to see people move this. We see the club moving all over the place, and we're constantly changing our face to path relationship, I think plain and simply because we don't know how to align the golf club. So again, so from right in here, let's say if I was going to do a perfectly straight golf ball, this right here would sit, as you can see from face on, this is sitting parallel to what low point is right here. So this is parallel to what low point is. And I can see a line here from down the line off the shaft that is pointed right where I want the golf ball to go. Now I've got a relationship of how I'm going to deliver the golf club there. If I wanted to draw it, I'm going to move it a couple golf balls back in my stance. I'd keep the handle there. Now I can see the ball would start a little bit right. So you can see the grip handle is in front of the club head. Then I have access to the twist in the face. Now I've got a draw set up, and I'm able to get the body a heck of a lot more comfortable a lot quicker. So this would be a really good skill set to start with when we're trying to figure out how to aim ourselves, rather than just coming in here, setting up body like this, and then looking at the target, trying to go intermediate target, then we start moving body around and everything's kind of everywhere. So I would say this is a really good starting place. So what we're gonna do now, and take a quick break, I'm gonna grab a setup right here, and I'm gonna show you how I would actually work on a drill and a skill inside of this to get this even better from an alignment standpoint. Okay, so what I've got set up here now as a drill station is what I've done is I've drawn a straight line from here out to where I want to see the golf ball start. So I've got this now head cover in line with where my start direction is. Okay? So this would be our intermediate target, and we could even set this as a goal if you can get the alignment stick high enough that we could actually try and hit this. So when you come in here, what I have from a ball position standpoint, I've got this ball pretty close to low point because I want to hit this golf ball relatively straight right here. So when I come into here, I'm going to see, okay, I draw a straight line off of the shaft. So I'm even going to move this a little bit more forward, and I'm going to hit a little half shot here to see if we can knock the head cover off. So I'm going to draw a straight line right here off the shaft. So I can see now that is pointed right at where my target is. Because this is a half shot, I'm going to start with pressure a little bit more forward. But now I can see straight line off the shaft. Now I can take the club face, point it right there, and here's going to be my rehearsal. Halfway back, return it to there. Halfway back, return it to there. So now I've got a goal inside of this practice session of where I'm going to start the golf ball, how I'm going to get the golf ball to start there based on where I'm setting the shaft and where I'm setting the face. So I'm going to go here, one look at the head cover, rehearse this one more time. That's perfect. We're going to let it go. Okay, so that wasn't bad. That started just a smidge left of it. But again, this is how we can make our practice a lot more helpful by having aids like this, being able to focus, working on things such as alignment. Where is the golf club pointed, rather than just coming out here and aimlessly hitting golf balls? Because now I know that ball started left. I can make an adjustment to either the face, the direction that I swung, so that I can actually start to straighten that out from there. So I hope this video finds you well. I hope you enjoyed this. If you need anything or you have any questions whatsoever, please leave those in the comments down below. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.